Shalom Israel, it's your brother Abidai, and before I start I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, double honors to the elders and apostles in Israel who rule and teach all, to the Akims of the Iwas and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity, to the brothers and sisters in the truth. Now I came across this video here that I want to play, and the title is, it's from a channel called The Economist. Says, what does a cashless future mean? So before I play the video, just want to quickly answer that question there. It says, what does a cashless future means? Now this is Revelation chapter 13 verse 14. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. And the point one is that a cashless society means that we're going to be in a society where we've been deceived. And what's that deception? That deception is to take the mark, because to have a cashless society, that means the cash, the form of currency that's being used, will be a digital currency, and that's what these people are trying to push. Now, there's a number of people that's trying to push this digital currency, which you know that they'll be linking up with the chip. So, a cashless society or cashless future, cashless future means a future where the mark of the beast is in place. Now, this is verse, and people be deceived to take that mark. Now, this is verse 16. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that mark is the chip. And we know that the chip will be linked up to your cash. That's why it says in verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So a cashless future means a future where the mark of the beast is in place. And we know this is what certain people are trying to push. It says, verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. It says that number is the number of a man. And we know that man, when we go precept on precept, is Esau. But one of the scriptures I want to pull out, this is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, how art thou fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weakens the nation? And this isn't talking about Satan, you know. The word Lucifer, this just means, mine's gone blank now, light bearer, Salakia. And the real light bearer is Yahushai. This is a deception to make you believe that this is a light bearer, because he deceives, like we read here, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. So this Lucifer here, this light bearer, false light bearer, is a deceiver. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakens the nation? And the way he weakened the nation was through deception. Now this is verse 16. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? So this is how we know that this Lucifer up here ain't talking about the spiritual demon Satan, which, you know, a lot of people, or the Christian church, have us trying, you know, that's what they taught us when we was in religion. This is how they used to teach that Lucifer was a spiritual demon Satan. But we know that is a man. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? So when we come back to Revelation 13, you know, in answer to that question, where it says, what does a cashless future mean? It means a future where we have the mark of the beast in place. You know, verse 16 again, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, because if there's no cash, the way everyone is going to be buying or selling would be through the digital currency, which we know they would at some point link up to that chip, to that mark, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So in answer to this question here, what does a cashless future means? It means a future where the mark of the beast is in place. Now I want to play this video and then I'm going to close out with a scripture.
Somewhere in the near future, physical money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these. So what's the rush to get rid of cash? And what's the cost? Let's face it, money is cumbersome for consumers and banks.
You need to mint the cash, you need to print the bills, you need to transport them in armored trucks, store it in secure vaults, and you need to sort it at the till as well.
Operating in cash costs countries about 0.5% of their GDP every year. But cost isn't the only incentive to move towards a cashless future.
Demand is rising, primarily demand from young generations who are looking for fast, easy-to-use means of payments.
And this is who they're trying to push all this idea on the young generation, because they're into all this tech, this high-tech stuff, you know. They got no patience, they want things yesterday. So these are who they're trying to push a lot of these ideas on. You know, the young generation is going to be the adults of the future.
Digital payments aren't just easy, they're neat.
It becomes easier for governments to monitor tax evasion and fraud, so we will have less of that going on, probably.
Having every single payment automatically recorded is efficient, but there's a downside.
Let's assume, for example, that a country that used to be democratic, where people were not paying too much attention about safeguarding their privacy, becomes undemocratic and someone wants to control citizens more closely. They will try to infer from what you buy your political leanings, potentially. And generally speaking, just monitor what you're doing in ways that they shouldn't be doing.
The ballot boxes are kept locked and sealed.
Living in a democratic country doesn't mean you shouldn't be concerned.
There are also worries that private companies perhaps might use this data in ways that are not safe or that you might not like. And for a number of sectors, knowing what you do with your money is very important.
Electronic money trails can allow governments and private companies to access and harvest personal data. But there's another threat that's worrying banks: cyber attacks.
It was a high-tech bank robbery. Capital One suffering a massive hack attack involving
100 million Capital One customers' accounts
had their personal information stolen.
In March 2019, Capital One Bank was hacked.
A sole hacker managed to steal away 106 million people's personal details in a matter of days. And that attack was noticed just a few months after. You can see that a lot of companies are not very well protected yet against such threats. Pretty much every day we hear of data breaches, cyber attacks that are successful. It's much harder to prevent an attack than to be on the hacker side, because you only need to succeed once as a hacker. Once upon a time, you would have two guys coming in, they would tell everyone to be on the floor, they would put the money in a bag and then run away with the money. And you would get insurance against that. You knew what the risk was. Nowadays, with cyber attacks, they can happen anytime, they can take any form, so it's very hard to insure against.
Still, many countries are fast moving towards a cashless society. In Sweden, the number of retail cash transactions per person has fallen by 80% in the past 10 years. The trend is even evident in far more cash-loyal societies. China's digital payments rose from 4% of all payments in 2012 to 34% in 2017. The trend is inevitable, but a gradual transition is key.
So some countries is already pushing this thing, like you just mentioned, Sweden. You know, a number of people in Sweden already have a form of chip.
Important that we have a sort of control as to how fast this happens, because if that's not the case, some people might be left behind.
Some people may find it harder to grasp how much money they have without the physical representation of it. Not everyone knows how to use internet banking technology. and people living in remote areas where internet cover is patchy may find they have to drive for miles for their basic needs. And there's another sector of society that relies heavily on cash.
People living in the street don't carry card terminals with them, so it would be very hard for them, well, first of all, to collect money and to pay for things. They will be among the people who suffer the most from it.
Yeah, but then in a cashless society, that means they themselves would have to get themselves chipped at some point.
Going cashless is just the latest evolution of money in the modern economy. But it raises a fundamental question. What is the value of money if it doesn't physically exist?
Central banks enact monetary policy by exerting control over the amount of money that is created and that is in circulation. And they can do it because they are the only entities that print and create money. The purpose of it is to control the amount of money that is used by the entire economy. In a cashless society, obviously this becomes much harder because money presumably can be created by other entities. And so central banks are actually starting to realize this, especially after Facebook made the announcement that they were going to launch a digital currency. It shows you the extent to which central banks are already thinking about the future of money.
To hear that, Facebook is looking to launch a digital currency. So there's a number of people that's trying to push this digital dollar. You know, even a senator in the United States, Sharon Brown, is trying to push this digital dollar, and many other people. So they're working their way towards a cashless future anyway, you know, and that'll be linked up with a chip.
The move towards cashless societies is well underway. But governments need to ensure that as cash is phased out, the vulnerable in society aren't left behind.
Yeah, so like the question says, what does a cashless future mean? A cashless future mean a future where you've got the mark of the beast in place, that chip. And it also means this, Revelation 14:9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So, a cashless future means a future where we have the mark of the beast in place, and where we have a number of people just waiting for the Most High to pour his wrath upon them. And with that, I'm going to close out to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kadash, Kwam Yasharallah.